Friends, there has been a lot of overheating talk around the DJI Osmo Nano, and rightfully so, because at launch, the camera tends to shut off due to overheating fairly quickly, mid-20s, early 30 minutes, depending on how you use it. So much so that DJI released a new firmware for the DJI Osmo Nano recently to address that and other issues. And has the firmware solve or improve the overheating situation of the DJI Osmo Nano? In this channel, we put the most pertinent information right up front because I respect your time. And if you do have a few extra minutes, you can stay a little bit longer so we can dive deeper into additional information. So we are more informed about the things that we need to think about a little bit more so we can maximize the gear that we use. So yes, the firmware has improved the power management and heat dissipation of the DJI Osmo Nano, and I did my own test on how I use these micro wearable cameras. I use them either as a POV or a camera that I put to record multiple angles of my slow pitch softball games and just day-to-day stuff like recording my workouts so I can send it to my trainer so he can review my form. So that's my use case. So right now what I'm going to do is at the bottom of the screen, I will show you how I tested the DJI Osmo Nano and the Insta360 Go Ultra. And when I set this up, it's totally not scientific. I wanted to do my test a little bit more practically, a little bit easier, because there's so many ways that we use our gear that will affect the power management and the overheating of our cameras that truly closed experiments might not be the most pertinent for our use case. I'm just gonna speed up the videos at the bottom of your screen that you're seeing right now so it fits this explainer video. And spoiler alert, the DJI lasted way longer than the Insta360 Go Ultra with all settings set as close as I can, which is both are in auto. But what I wanted to talk to you about is even at the basic setting, even at the auto settings, there are still things that are specific to the cameras, depending on when or where you use it, that will affect overheating and power management. So both of them did not overheat. The Insta360 Go Ultra, the way that it was being used that particular night, ran out of battery way quicker than the DJI Osmo Nano. But again, that is my use case. I love smaller creators, and there's so many people doing these tests. I will reference this guy right now. I like his videos. It's very straightforward. It's very practical. His video shows that the DJI Osmo Nano lasted more than an hour and a half, but he was doing an overheating test where he was plugging the camera with power too. So he was truly doing an overheating test. While when I started my test, I thought that it was going to be an overheating test, but in the end, it was a battery test. I also wanted to reference this other creator. I also like his DJI Nano videos, and in his test, his DJI Osmo Nano barely lasts mid 30 minutes before overheating, and then starting the cameras after that, the length of recording just becomes shorter and shorter. So even that, there's just so many variables whenever you're doing an overheating test. That's why I'm doing this video, is that we should look at our use case as a whole and find the camera or the gear that aligns with that a little bit more. As I mentioned in my previous video about the DJI Osmo Nano, I slightly prefer the Nano over the Insta360 Go Ultra because of the form factor. Because when I put this pill format on my hat, it's a little bit unobtrusive whenever I'm doing my POV shots. I also like the fact that this modular format where you detach the screen just fits my use a little bit more. There's a lot of other creators out there that doesn't like the fact that you have to turn the screen back and forth to be able to do a front-facing or rear-facing view. They prefer the flip-up screen of the Insta360 Go Ultra, and that's because that vlogging is their use case. I want to go stealth. I don't want people to know that I'm vlogging. So if I put, let's say, this camera somewhere else in the gym and I'm just holding this, I can still look at my frame, then I can still talk to camera, and that's the way that I would vlog in the places that I'm at. Coming back to my test, you'll see at the end that my DJI Osmo Nano lasted 77 minutes before running out of battery. So that's close to an hour and 20. And there's a few factors why I think this one lasted almost 3 times as my Insta360 Go Ultra. First of all, the quote-unquote auto setup. With the newest firmware update of the Insta360 Go Ultra, it automatically turns on pure video in lower light situations. And I was using this at night during my slow pitch softball game. And because I did not turn off that feature, the Insta360 Go Ultra was running pure video. So that's additional computing power on the camera, additional battery usage. And because I was using them both as POV cameras, one on me and one on my teammate Colleen, this was out of the action pod because that's what I wanted to test it on. So that is one of the reasons why the Nano lasted longer than the Ultra. Also, another contributing factor might be I had the Nano on my hat, so possibly more air circulation, while the Insta360 Go Ultra was on the magnetic chest pendant of my teammate. So maybe the pendant was closer to the body while playing softball, a little bit more body heat. So maybe that was a little bit of a higher temperature using a little bit more power. So those are just certain assumptions. But again, in practical situations, there's just so many other things that can contribute to either power management or heat dissipation of these cameras, but also any other camera that you'll be using. And I didn't even use the endurance mode. So perhaps if I use the endurance mode on the DJI Nano, it might have even lasted longer than 77 minutes. So yeah, I just wanted to chat with you guys about that, give you a little bit more information about not only what to think about these cameras that we're looking to invest in and use, but how to think about it in terms of integrating it in your life so that you can use it a little bit more. I'll have more thoughts about the Nano and the Ultra in my other videos. And now that I have a full game's footage worth of both the Insta360 Go Ultra and the DJI Osmo Nano, I have other things that I'm seeing when I'm comparing them both in a more practical sense. Like, although I'm still very, very slightly leaning towards the DJI Osmo Nano, when I was looking at the Insta360 Go Ultra, granted that it was in pure video mode, the blacks were actually a lot better. Our field in our night games looked a lot better there. So that's another thing that you might consider when purchasing one or both of these cameras. Using both these cameras, I'm having a lot of fun sharing my thoughts with you guys. So if you found any value in this video, subscribe to the channel. Drop me a comment below about your thoughts about the DJI Osmo Nano and the Insta360 Go Ultra post their firmware updates. So the DJI Osmo Nano was addressing some power management, heat dissipation issues, and then the Insta360 Go Ultra addressed their Insta360 Air mic connectivity issues. Now the Insta360 Mic Air connects to the Insta360 Go Ultra whether or not the camera is on the action pod. So the next video of mine is going to be about that. So hopefully you come back, we can chat more, exchange notes, have healthy dialogue about how fun these things are to use, and hopefully we can learn a lot more about each other. Anyway, I really hope I can see you in your next video, and also I really hope I see you in the next of mine. Bye.